So what? Are we going to stand here and watch each other or what?
Oh, we're good. How's it going, everybody? This is Daniel Silvas.
And my name is Alfred from La Patria podcast, man.
And for those of you out there, I got the California Unfiltered podcast, and both of our co-hosts are gone, so we're both helping each other out right now. And my buddy Alfred right there, he's from the Orange County area, and I'm from Riverside County area. So we're both two different counties, but we're both Southern California, right, Alfred?
That's right. Yeah, we're both in Southern California, everyone. So thank you so much. Hey, I want to, first of all, take this opportunity to thank Daniel Silvas for the invitation just to be here with the California Unfiltered. A big shout out to the team that's out there working in the background. McKenna's out there. McKenna, you out there? Yep, she's out there. She's working. And also the rest of the crew from the Leeds United and also the California movement. So thank you so much, brother, for this invitation to collaborate with you at California Unfiltered.
Amen to that, right, brother? And we're both here live and breathing. Thank God. That's
right. That's right.
Yeah. So there's a couple things we could talk about. Let's start locally. Let's start Hoopa Valley. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I want to let our audience know that in Hoopa Valley, we've came out on local news for the last couple of days because we had a horrible fire by the 60 freeway. It was called the Pyrite Fire. So for those of you that don't know, it started around Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and it lasted roughly till Sunday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. It burned approximately close to a little bit over 500 acres, which is a lot. And it put a lot of homes in danger on Fontana in San Bernardino County, as well as Hoopa Valley residential homes. And it took a massive effort. They did put it out by Friday, but it flared up again because of the high winds on Saturday. Well, what's your opinion about that when you see Hoopa Valley News, Alfred?
Well, listen, first of all, I wanted, my prayers goes out to everybody. I actually have family that are in Jurupa Valley. And of course, we all want to take that opportunity to call them, right? Some of you might think, oh, they're fine. Oh, yeah, they're fine. No. Come on. Let's go ahead and call them. Let's go ahead and ask them if they need some extra, if they need any necessities like water, food. So if you have family out there and you know that shelters are out there working hard, but if you do have family members out there, make sure you give them a call. You know, don't just think that the news, oh, they're fine. Oh, yeah, they're contained. Give them a call. You know, take that extra step, right? That's what we're familia, because we want to make sure that we reach out to the people that are in need.
Yeah, and you got to think about it as a regular person. So imagine it's Friday, and you're your children, your wife, or if you're a woman, your husband, vice versa, and your kids, and you want to have a good Friday night after hard work of the week, and all of a sudden a fire starts out in the brush, and you don't know if you got to evacuate or it's going to be a nothing burger, and all of a sudden it becomes a major thing. Where they shut down the 60 freeway, major street closures, and on top of that, they put evacuation orders. All of a sudden, you got to put yourself in their shoes. You got to think about family belongings, pictures, important documents, clothes, electronics that you need, like for work, computers, etc. And all of a sudden, your weekend plans become ruined. And also, you're worried about your life, the life of your kids, what's going to happen to your home. In California, we have a crisis in insurance. And we don't even know if they're able to cover these homes that get burned down. Well, right, Alfred?
Correct. That is correct. So make sure you are looking at your policies. Make sure you validate. Remember, the FAIR Act is not as fair as we say. All right. The California FAIR Act. Now you got to understand what have we been learning from the Palisades. So some of you that are taking that opportunity to review your policies, make sure you're asking your agents about, hey, what is covered? What's not? I mean, remember, always be educated in a sense where try to ask them questions in regards to the honesty, right? At the end, everybody, they want to be able to collect at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So make sure you're asking these questions. Hey, are these covered? Certain things are covered. You know, the dwelling, the frame. Sometimes if you lose a home, hey, ask these questions. As tough as they are, you got to make sure that you're on the know on these kinds of things, especially with the policies and insurances.
And I also want to tell all Californians, either NorCal or SoCal, Central Cal, whatever, or Bay Area, please look at your policy, see if you're covered for earthquake and fire. These are things a lot of the average person in California overlooks, and it's very, very important in today's world, especially we've been having constant earthquakes and we've been having constant wildfires. Right, Alfred?
Correct. Yes. Yes, we are. And remember, right now, unfortunately, we do have our current administration in the California area. There's a lot of um, there's a lot of delays. So I was happy to actually see some of the things that were happening there at Jerupa. I was thankful. I was just praying, asking the Lord, hey, cover these people. And you know what? The great thing about it out there in Jerupa, I want to give a huge shout out to the firefighters that came on at full swing and really to contain this. We did not hear not a lot of like, hey, it's running for a long time. Hey, they're struggling to contain it. No, it was like within a matter of 3 to 4 days, it was contained, fully contained, or at least under, the 60%. Sometimes you got to understand you're fighting the natural forces like winds.
Wins, yep.
Yep, and also the heat. So sometimes remember, if we currently don't have our governor that is doing the proper cleaning to keep our forestations cleaned, we are going to see this more and more. So remember to always stay on the know in your community. Always look out. Be a volunteer, because a lot of our firefighting teams, you'll be amazed that our firefighter actually do need firefighter volunteers to help out on clearing out brushes.
Yeah, so again, for those of you out there, I am a community leader of Hoopa Valley in Riverside County, as well as broadly Inland Empire, which includes San Bernardino County. So during the whole fire process, I do want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Homie News, okay? Homie News Inc. out there for doing your citizen journalism, if that's how you say it. And I want to give a big shout out to Andatira. Gracias, Tira. Gracias, homie. Gracias, homie news. Thank both of you guys for coming to my city of Hoopa Valley, my hometown, and covering these fires and helping spread the word of what's happening, the up-to-date status, et cetera, and how big and how fast these fires are going. So, gracias. And I also want to tell Tira, he paid a visit to the Hoopa Mountains Discovery Center. So, for those of you who don't know, the Patria fire was actually located on the hillside, on the mountainside where the Discovery Center was at. So there's a big mammoth that's right on top of the 60 freeway. It's a big mammoth, a statue. Its name is Eddie, and every kid loves that statue. Every kid that passes by 60 freeway, they see that statue. They're like, "Hey, mommy, dad, want to go visit it?" It's pretty funny, pretty cute. So for those who don't know, please come support Hoopa Valley. Come support the Hoopa Mountains Discovery Center. It's pretty fun. We have dinosaurs. We have bones. We have fossils, and we have earth metals like pyrite. It's actually called pyrite and opal. And have you heard of the Hoopa Mountain Discovery Center, Alfred?
Actually, brother, I have not, and the reason why I have not is just because I haven't. I do have family there, but unfortunately, But some of the things that I do look out for is some of the things that you're talking about. For example, the La Brea tar pits, right? You hear this stuff, so I'm always looking on good spots. And thank you for sharing those information, because guess what's going to be my next thing? I'm going to be checking out the Jerupa Discovery Center. I'm going to be looking out. The good thing about what you mentioned is very crucial and important what you said. When we have independent journalists that are coming in to provide some of their audiences with the knows, right? And so what Latira did and what Homies Inc. are doing is very important to not only our communities, because they're independent journalists. They're not like CNN, Telemundo, Noticias, or Univision. These people that are out in the street, this is what they do. They expose certain things. They give their, what they call it, the bipartisan, right? They don't get political. They're just telling the information, nonpartisan. Correct, nonpartisan, but they don't get into politicals, but they expose what's important to the community. So thank you, Homie Inc.
Zero bias,
100%. So I want to thank Homie Inc. and Latira for really coming out and really sharing some of the information for the Jerupa community. Thank you.
Hey, gracias, homies. And the next thing I want to talk about, there's been a couple of health scares, health alerts in Riverside County and broadly the IE. So there's a thing called the Valley Fever, okay? And a week ago-ish, the Riverside County health officials actually issued a health alert regarding the Valley Fever. So the Valley Fever is caused by a fungus on the dirt. And when there's heavy wind, okay, that dirt becomes dust in the air and people breathe it in. And then the symptoms go from mild to severe fever, sore throats, joint and muscle and bone pain. So, and please search out the valley fever in your local search engine, whether it's ChatGPT or Google. Search out valley fever. If symptoms persist for longer, please have them checked out by a doctor. Have you heard of valley fever, Alfred?
No, actually haven't heard about it, but I know I've always asked people around when they're having itchy throats, and I'm always asking them like, hey, have you had any fever? So good to know that sometimes these are caused by what you mentioned, funguses and things like that. I'm writing this down as you're talking about these things because I want to know the next thing. My next question to you, Danny Silvas, is what are the recommended things to actually take on these kinds of diseases?
I actually reported on that, and I actually had a lot of messages and phone calls. Like, hey, Daniel, we seen you reporting. Like, what can we do? Can we go outside? Yes, you could go outside, but please tune into your local health officials. But one of the things they said, and actually a couple of things, is either stay indoors, but if you gotta go outside, put a dust mask on. I believe it's N95 mask, if that's what you call it, or any kind of mouth or nose covering to protect yourself from the dirt and dust in the air that potentially has this fungus that causes valley fever.
Excellent. Now, remember, this is for the people that are out there more towards the valley, more towards the Jurupa Valley, because there's dusty. I mean, you guys are so close to not only the desert, but for us that are locally, remember that this outbreak can also hit our area as well. So make sure that you guys are aware, on the know that it's happening. It starts somewhere, and just always keep an eye and ear. What are the symptoms? As you mentioned, valley fever is, of course, you're going to have a fever. You're going to have some itchy throat.
Yes.
Just kind of like the normal thing that we get when we're, getting the flu, right?
Yes.
Similar things. But remember, always, like Daniel said, always remember to check out the CDC. What are the recommendations for to take on those matters, and it's important.
I believe it was the Riverside County Health website, and we'll more than gladly put on the link. When this video posts, and also, Alfred, I want to tell you something. People, if don't say Jurupa. Long time residents that have actually been in Jurupa Valley for a long time actually call it or pronounce it Jurupa, kind of like with an H, kind of like a Spanish word, Jurupa, not Jurupa. What do you think about that, Alfred?
Well, I learned something new. The reason why I called it Jurupa, because, hey, I have family that are out there and they always say, hey, I'm in the Jurupa Valley. So Jurupa,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So remember, Jurupa. So some of you were learning, and some of the family members that they moved out there, it's been some time. But when they say, hey, I'm over there at the Jurupa Valley, so I thought that was the way. But thank you for clarifying, buddy. Jurupa Valley, all right?
Yes. and here's a couple fun facts for our audience to know about Jurupa Valley. So Jurupa Valley was actually incorporated, okay, in July 1st of 2011. So roughly it's a young city. And it's actually right for many years, actually California's youngest city. And I believe we recently got taken out of that from a city in Northern California. I forgot what it's called, but it felt good to be California's youngest city, and with a roughly young city council, parks and recs, water board, and school board. And on top of that, fun fact, according to Zillow, about 5 to 10% of the people moving into Jurupa Valley are actually from San Francisco area, Bay Area. Do you know about that, Alfred?
Actually, thank you. Of the people that are migrating into the Jurupa Valley are people from San Francisco?
Yeah, according to Zillow.
Okay, understood. Hey, that's a fun fact, man. That's actually very interesting. But why would they want to come into the Jurupa Valley if they're coming just from a nice Bay Area beach into desert? Makes no. All right, I'll let you carry on and do the research, buddy. That's homework for you.
Well, how about this? I'll save the audience for one simple answer, and that's called land. Land. So Bay Area I'm assuming, like, I haven't been up there myself, but I hope some of our audience have been. But the Bay Area, from what I've seen, is kind of condensed, high density homes, properties, buildings. Yes, they got the beach, but they got no land. Right here in Hoopa Valley, most of the properties out here are ranches, half acre, quarter of an acre to about either one or multiple acres big land properties. And that's it. That's the American dream, to own land, lots of land, not these new modern buildings that have no front yard, no backyard, barely even have a driveway for two cars, right, Alfred?
Correct. Yep, that is correct, man. I don't know about you guys, but some of the people that are actually the stat that you're talking about is very interesting to me, because what drives people, and I know you just said the land, but what drives people just getting tired of these massive buildings where they're just, secluded into a small location? Well, when you start hitting the outskirts of California, like the Jurupa Valley, or if you're moving down towards the Temecula Valley, you start seeing the beauty of the Southern California. I mean, it's so beautiful. I mean, not only it provides land, but it's so majestic as far with the lakes. There's lakes around. I mean, it's beautiful. You're not just centered into the buildings, massive buildings, but you're seeing the other part of what California has to offer. And California has beautiful, beautiful landscapes to offer. Not only do we have the majestic forests, but also the wonderful deserts. But also we also have the best beaches. But so we have everything here in California. So I am happy to learn that people from San Francisco are moving into the Jurupa Valley.
Yes, and nothing but Hoopa Valley, right? We are a equestrian cultural heritage, which means is that Hoopa Valley, we have our own equestrian lifestyle overlay, where people could own horses, could take them on trails, and be free to support that equestrian or another horse lifestyle, for people that don't know equestrian, what it means. And on top of that, Hoopa Valley, we got ranches, we got cows, we got goats, and when you're driving Hoopa Valley, it feels so good when you get out of the city of Riverside, when you get out of San Bernardino, even Los Angeles, you pass by Hoopa Valley, even our sister city, Norco, Eastville, and you see horses, you see cows, you see goats. How beautiful is that, Alfred?
Wonderful, man. I mean, can you just picture the smell of it? I mean, just think about it, man. I mean, for some of us that has grown in the countryside, meaning like you work in a ranch, like myself, growing up, I remember the smell of the goats, the smell of the poo of the cow. So this is exactly what you counter when you visit the Jurupa Valley. I mean, the first thing that people ask when they're traveling towards Norco, Rialto, man, it smells like cow dung over here. Well, of course, you have some of the best, the cow ranches, areas where you can get the best milk. Not only that, but you have a lot of goats. You got a lot. So you're pretty much in an area where it's secluded with ranches, yes, goats, animals. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Enjoy it. I enjoy it. Every time I go there, I'm loving it.
Yeah, and then it's a beautiful city. It's definitely has that ranch lifestyle, that feeling. Kind of like that anti-city, suburban feel, because the homes are big. We do. By the way, we do have asphalt streets, so don't think we're dirt road.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, on the other topic, I know you mentioned there's another outbreak, right?
Yeah. So, it got recently released publicly, and I actually report on it. Today, Monday, September 8th, that there's been a high school student in Riverside County in the IE Inland Empire in the Desert Sands Unified School District, which is Indio High School. And this high school student actually tested positive for TB or tuberculosis. So right now, there's a whole testing thing going on in that school. They're testing every possible student that came in touch, exposure, and to me, as a Riverside County resident, when I hear about these news, I'm like, are my kids safe? Are my kids? Do I gotta worry about that for my area, about my city? And whenever I hear any kind of like health alert like this, as a community leader, Hoopa Valley, it's my job, my public duty to make sure that my residents know what's happening in their backyard and in their community. What do you think, Alfred?
100%. Well, it's very important that as community leaders, not only do we expose some of these things for the community to actually learn. I mean, some of these things you're not going to hear them at your normal news outlets. So it's best when you have somebody like Daniel Silvas that is out there in the community that knows that, hey, did you hear about this? Great. And he has a great outlet like, the California Unfiltered with McKenna, where they talk about these things locally. So I love it that you're sharing some of this stuff because realistically, our community need to know that these are things that, that why people get sick. I mean, it's important to know what's happening in our communities. And remember, a lot of these outbreaks usually happens with the siblings, the little ones. So always keep a close watch on your siblings. Make sure that they're hydrated. Make sure that you're always keeping an eye on their tonsils, on their skin, because a lot of these outbreaks happen within our own homes. And we are the first line of defense. So Daniel mentioning these about tuberculosis is very important that we come home. If you're listening to this this small segment, make sure that you're keeping an eye and close watch to your siblings.
Yes. And we're in 2025 and it's kind of rare when we find out about these reports of something that's so wild west, like tuberculosis. But back in the day where people used to die from having this disease that apparently still active today. And I also want to talk about to our audience of another recent local news that affected Riverside County and Inland Empire is the whole horrendous news about baby Emmanuel Haro. And I'm just going to give my own opinion, okay? And his parents who've originally lied to the authorities that there was a kidnapping, a beating, Lord, who knows what else. But ultimately, they came to decide that it was actually the parents that possibly might have, off their baby. Me as a resident of the IE, it's horrible, real horrible. When I actually started reporting about this, I was I have a tough skin, and I was trying to do the best to report, to be non-partial. But when the authorities, such as Riverside County District Attorney, the DA, Mike Hestrin, shout out to Mike Hestrin. You're doing a fabulous job. Thank you. So when Mike Hestrin gave a press conference, his words, wow, were heavy. Like to let the audience know, I don't have my sunglasses on right now, but I did bust it a tear too. What's your opinion about that? When what does the Orange County say about Emmanuel Haro case, Alfred?
Well, there's a lot for some of us that are pretty up there on age. We can't forget about the Gabriel Fernandez, the Gabriel Fernandez case. As you guys remember, Gabriel Fernandez was kept in a small little blocked cabin, secluded by his mom and his stepfather. The story, as we all know it, as much as the media tells us, this story was horrible. I mean, when it comes down to child abuse, we all need to make sure that we're keeping our children safe. The story of Gabriel's abuse was a neglect for 8 months, the torturing of a young child at 8 years old, where we were able to see how the fallout of multiple agencies, working together to supposedly keep our children safe from abuses. Well, we were able to see how the system failed, Gabriel Fernandez. Now we're starting to see the same thing with the Emmanuel Haro case. For the Orange County, we see this all the time, and we have a lot of these agencies that are working 24/7. You got these DPS or these department social workers that are working. And remember, it takes a village to protect our kids from the reporting, from the social services, to the departments that are taking care of the cases, to the police officers that are responding to these cases. It takes a village. It takes the community to come together. It's that famous saying, hear something, see something, say something. Somebody had to see that this was happening to our to young Emmanuel Horo, or even that to Gabriel Fernandez. When these abuses happen, it strikes us as parents, because we love our children. I mean, I wouldn't like to see that happening to any of my children. But when it happening to somebody so young and so what do you call the word?
So full of life ahead of it.
So full of life, exactly. So full of life, but at the same time, they're very defenseless. They can't defend themselves because they're innocent, right? Innocent. And so it hits home for a lot of us, especially us that we have children. And hopefully, Daniel, you'll have yours, and you'll see this firsthand that, you're not going to want the wind to touch your child, So when we're seeing these horrible stories, it broke my heart. And my heart goes out to the family, not the parents that have caused this, but to the grandparents, because we know that grandparents are out there working to really take on that extra responsibility. After a lot of them have retired, a lot of them are, they're living life, kind of waiting for their due time to go see their maker. They're taking care of these children. So my heart goes out to the grandparents, the tios, the tias, the nanas that are working hard. But we all need to work together as a community, as a family, to really expose when you're seeing it within our own families. I mean, we got to step in and really just take on this extra shield to protect the little ones, because at the end of the day, they're full of life and their life needs to continue. And this here was just a tragic event for the family, the Haros.
A simple word is heartbreak. Heartbreaking.
100%.
And rest in peace, my grandparents. But for a long time, I was somebody's grandchild, and I'm somebody's son, mom and dad. And I have my own kids, my 3 beautiful daughters as of right now, as of 2025. But I'm somebody's cousin. I'm somebody's tío, uncle, whatsoever. And when I found out here about these horrible things, where it was done by your own family, it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's sad. And me being a Christian is a constant reminder that we do live in a sinful world, right, Alfred?
100%. Yep, 100%. And remember, living it, seeing it, I think we can do more. And as a community, we need to come together. The healing process should start with that family, and our prayers and our heart, condolences go out to them. But again, it just teaches us that as a community, we got more to offer. We need to be the first line of defense when we see something, when we hear something, when we're hearing the children, teachers, these teachers that are working in there, that are hearing these stories from, don't be afraid. Some of these teachers are being, they stay quiet because either they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to take that extra harsh with the parents. If you see their parents and say, oh, they're gangsters or whatever, just remember, it's important to really stand for what's true. And the true is to stand for those that need to be protected, which is children.
Yes. And everything we do is for the children. As a matter of fact, the reason why I decided to get into public, square is what it's called. I hate this word. I hate the word politics. It's a bad word. It's a real bad word, Alfred. But what got me first involved in my community, all right, in my area, is my 3 daughters, and regarding the things that's happening regarding the daughters. And there's a couple things. One of them, my oldest one, actually has autism. And at the time, many, many years ago, when she was actually younger, around the mid 2010s, before autism was before people even knew about it, had some basic information about it, even some basic research about it, the resources available for parents to help them out, help the school out for kids with autism was very low. So at the time, I had to help. I'm a dad. I had to help my baby girl out. I'm a papa bear. I got to go berserk sometimes, even in my own school district. Well, you're a dad, right, Alfred?
100%, man. I have two beautiful daughters, and believe me, Papa Bear. I'm looking for something to wear that says Papa Bear all the time, man. I think my daughter's got me world bestest dad. Only if you knew the work that it can. The saying is it's saying the world. It said dad. It said dad. The world's hardest job. So something so small, but they got me a shirt telling me how important I am. So yeah, I'm a father, and I can relate with some of the stuff that you're talking about. And again, it goes. My heart goes out to these people, man. It's tough. It's a tough situation.
I'm actually jealous of you, Alfred. My oldest daughter actually got me a mug of Darth Vader.
What?
I am your father. Is that the what he says? Oh. Luke, I am your father.
Your father, yep. Lord of the Sith. The Lord of the Sith. That's the guy.
I'm a little jealous that your kids want to get you a dad and a bear shirt. Well, mine's got me a Darth Vader mug.
Great. You are my father. Great. Hey, man. So really quick, I got another question to ask you. I know that you've been contemplating on the Haro, but you heard what Sheriff Chad Bianco talked about this? Did he mention what did he said about the Emmanuel Haro case?
Yeah, so for the audience to know that the Haro family, I believe they live in San Bernardino County, but the actual incident where it allegedly happened was in Riverside County. And there's possible areas, possible locations where it could have happened, where baby Emmanuel was off, missing, whatever the word you want to use, But it was a joint effort from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department as well as the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. And right after Riverside County DA Mike Hesterin gave his presser, the Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, who's also running for California governor, actually, he's a good public servant. He's the elected sheriff. He spoke about the baby Emmanuel Haro case. And he let the public know that they're for many weeks, they were going on and on searching for the remains. They even got, I don't want to say a bad word, but the dad, Jake Haro, who many of you may have harsh feelings for, which is understandable. But they had him out of jail to help the authorities to go locate the remains of the baby Haro, Emmanuel Haro. But Chad Bianco did make it clear, that it was a joint effort from both counties' authorities. What do you think about that, Alfred?
Well, it's great. It's great to see that we, in situations like this, it's always important to understand that we need the leadership on the top level to continue to provide guidance. I think it's very important when we have somebody not only like Sheriff Chad Bianco speaking on the matters on how organized and how everything was strategized. It's unfortunate, the situation. It's for everybody. It's the unknowns. I think it's one of the things I always look back and I'm seeing the sheriffs or the police or the law enforcement or investigators, they have it tough. Because remember, at the end, you have laws that were created to actually gear or to tie parents into these situations, right? For example, some of these laws, some of the law enforcement will not remove the child, just because of something so petty. So it takes something gradually. It takes incident after incident after incident. And that, for in my personal opinion, as a father, that needs to change. And I know that some of you that don't like, other law enforcement or government agencies to get involved in regards to these things, but we always need to keep in mind what's important, which is life. So remember that life is very important. So when we have these organizations working together and a leader, just like Chad Bianco, just laying out and saying, hey, this is how it's happening. This is how we must have, a great leader just providing that guidance. And it's very important. It's a very important thing.
I want to make something real quick. It was kind of sad. I at least I didn't hear, but the California governor didn't mention nothing about Emmanuel Haro, right, Alfred? Or am I wrong there?
100%. We have not, up to this point, we have not heard anything from the governor himself. Governor Newsom has not spoken on the matter because remember, his bubble is up north or in the middle of the state, Sacramento. So anything that happens above, anything that happens below, that's why, when people are screaming about the Palisades, when people are still asking questions, it's been a good, a year and a half since the Palisade fire. He's MIA. He's on fire. I think he was just recently found. He was just taking pictures on without even approval from the property owners to take these pictures on his lot. So remember, you have people like that just doesn't give a rat's cahoots about law or order. I mean, nowadays when it's something like this, with something, especially when life, especially a child like Emmanuel Haro, the governor hasn't spoken a word about it. Not my heartfelt to the community for what has happened. At least, I mean, you have, like you said, leaders like Chad Biacco talking on it, and that's very important that the community see the leadership working and talking about it because they care. That's how they show us they care.
And I do want to give another special shout out and gracias to Andatira for giving your independent citizens journalism regarding the whole baby Emmanuel Haro situation. So Andatira, gracias, homie. And also want to give another gracias, homie, to Homies News Inc., who's also covering the baby Emmanuel situation. So gracias, Homie News Inc. Gracias. Right, Alfred? And
yes, it's very important. Sorry about that. We're looking, we're getting all kinds of people. Yes, that's why I mentioned thank you to Latira and the Homie News, because it's so important what you guys do. And the reason why we're giving a huge shout outs to these people is because we want them to know that it's important when we have outlets like them, talking about these things that are happening in the community. So think about it. We have these two independent journalists that are out there just exposing, spending their time. Think about it. It's hours of time when they're traveling. Nobody's paying them. Nobody's saying, "Hey, here's a GoFundMe," right? So, for the least that we can do is just give them a huge shout out and actually gear our audiences to go out and check them out, support, independent journalism, just like En Latira and Homies Inc. for their wonderful work that they do for our community.
Yes, I agree. Gracias, Homie News Inc. and gracias, Natira. And even I could use some thank yous too. I do some independent reporting too, and it's hard work. It's actually hard work. It's time consuming, to get the proper facts down and break it down in a video, upload it correctly, contact the right sources, et cetera, et cetera. It's time consuming, kind of like doing a podcast, right, Alfred?
Yep. That's why it's so important when we have independent journalism like this, right? Even though we're sharing some of this information with you, you could have easily just said, well, I don't know where to look at. Well, you have independent journalists like, Daniel Silvas and myself that are just, sharing light on things that are happening in our communities. So that's why it's so important that you always have a second opinion, right? I don't know about this. It's always because of what I was, how I was taught. When you go to the doctor and they're telling you that you have a specific illness, it's always good to have a second opinion. Yeah. So, I don't always take, what the news outlets like Telemundo or Univision or CNS, MSNBC, even though they're reporting whatever they want, they're reporting to the masses. But it's unfortunate that you're starting to see individual journalisms and podcasters like ourselves that are just bringing you raw things that are happening in communities like the Jurupa Valley, the Orange County. That's why it's so important that you continue to like, share, and subscribe, because that's the only way that we can get the word across to our audiences that, maybe something that's happening in Orange County, something that's happening in Riverside County, maybe you haven't heard anything that's happening with the fever. You haven't heard anything that's happening with tuberculosis, right? But here you are, you're hearing about it from independent journalisms that are actually in the ground. And that's why Daniel Silvas, Homies Inc., and Latira are so important to this new wave of reporting.
Yes. And also, there's nothing to report for our viewers and also locally in Riverside County, and even broadly for the whole state of California, as a matter of fact. So Riverside County we have elected the new state assemblywoman in Assembly District 63, okay? Her name is Natasha Johnson, who's a city councilwoman, and she just won her election, and she's a new state assembly. Have you heard of her, Natasha? About her, Alfred?
I just heard about Natasha just as you're talking, because think about it. Natasha Johnson, I think she's for the 63 Assembly District. Is that in covered all the location of both these Lake Elsinore? I'm sorry. Is she located more for the?
It should be Lake Elsinore included, but to let our viewers know. So again, I'm from Hoopa Valley, but our sister city is actually Eastvale and Norco. So
got you.
Her top north district starts at Eastvale, then goes Norco, Corona, then it goes down South Riverside, the South Riverside City area, all the way down through Lake Matthews, all the way down to Lake Elsinore, and all the way to Hemet. Is it Hemet or Menifee? Menifee. That excuse me, viewers. So she has a big district, and they have elected the people have spoken, and she's their new elected leader, like the representative. And I'm expecting big, amazing things from this true active leader, who has many years as the elected city councilwoman of her respected area. Based on your research, what you've done right now, what's your opinion about that, Alfred?
Well, number one is as I take a look at Natasha, she's actually supported by very, very important leaders. I mean, you got the support of Assembly, but Assemblyman Bill Saley, now who is he's the new what is
US
it? The
attorney.
new
US attorney.
the U.S. attorney.
Of the Los Angeles federal courthouse.
Correct. And also we have Congresswoman Ken Calvert, who supports this. Calvert. Yep. We also have Sheriff Chad Bianco, of course. And she's supported by Ben Bignot, who's the controller of the Riverside County Auditor. So you got heavy hitters. You got the district attorney, Mike Hestrin, who's supporting her. Senator Kelly Sayurato, who's supporting.
Yep.
So you have such big hitters. I mean, when you talk about leaders, I mean, you got some of the best leaders that are supporting Natasha Johnson for this role in this position. So kudos to Natasha Johnson for being elected the 63rd Assembly. Is it Assembly?
Assembly District 63.
63. Perfect. So yeah, man, as I read about it, I'm reading here, wonderful work. I'm looking at everything that she does. She was not only the mayor of Lake Elsinore, she's also is also a city council member for
Lake Elsinore, right?
For Lake Elsinore, correct. I mean, not only did she work, I mean, not only did we see some of these great, some of the city of Lake Elsinore growth economically, just because you have great leaders like Natasha Johnson. So kudos to the team. Kudos to Lake Elsinore for allowing us now to share this wonderful district leader who's going to be becoming the district leader of Assemblywoman of District 63. Yeah. So I'm excited for her role, and as she killed it in Lake Elsinore, I know she's gonna do great things at her new role.
And I believe, I got to double check, so don't hate me on this, but I believe she got sworn in today on September 8th of 2025. I believe. Although, shoot, let me double check it. You want to double check it for me? So I believe she got sworn in today in Sacramento at the State Assembly chamber of the state legislature. So for those of you that don't know, in Sacramento, so California Constitution, it emulates the U.S. Constitution, which means the governors are executive branch, our state assembly and state senates are Congress and Senate, and then we have our judges, exactly how the U.S. Constitution is played out. And for also another fact, state assemblies 80 members, and state senates 40. Have you done the research regarding she got sworn in today, right?
Natasha, I'm actually looking at it right now as we speak. It looks like there is a schedule, and I think she might be. And I'm looking around. I'm still searching for that. It should be today.
It should be today.
Well, we'll confirm. On another note, I wanted to share a little.
Today.
Go ahead.
Yes, today.
Yes, it was today, right?
Yeah. And then what you call it? Let me load up for audience another news reporting. In the last couple weeks, we've had regarding Hoopa Valley and Riverside and abroad, right? But we have about 4 high school schools teams, right, in volleyball, girls sports, that have forfeited against one high school in my area, Hoopa Valley High School, for having a biological boy in a girls team competing against girls. So to again the facts, the stories being updated, it's fairly new, but according to the what's out there, what's made public, the schools forfeited in concern of the girls' safety in their respective schools. So again, I'm a dad of 3 beautiful daughters, girls, and my number one is always make sure that they're safe, you know, and if they're playing against a biological boy, that raises concern, me as a parent. And I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of parents out there that have daughters feel the same. Do you have any daughters, Alfred? Well, what's your opinion about this?
Well, one of the hardest thing is to really talk about when it comes down to this. It's I grew up back in the 80s and 90s. We never heard about this. We never heard about biological males playing in women's sports. For some of you, you might think that this might be homophobic. You might think that this is something that you are attacking, a specific group. But I just want to tell you that we need to, at the end of the day, we actually need to look at the facts. We need to understand that biological males are not made to compete. They're not made. They're built different. Yes. Males are actually males, and when you want to put an actual male into a sport, you're gonna see exactly what we've been seeing with Leah Thomas, right? I mean, yes. with Riley Gaines, who's a swimmer, who has you have Leah Thomas, who all of a sudden a male swimmer. He was a male swimmer, actually in number 368 position in the table of a competitor. Well, he decides, well, I'm now a female, and he jumps and now becomes the number 1 in the nation for the women's sports. But at the end of the day, we need to look at the facts. As parents, I'm always looking at, hey, well, we need to look at the truth. The truth of the matter is this person is a male, is a biological male. He's stronger than most of women. We can all agree that males are built different. They're taller, their weight, especially when you are made and you're preparing yourself. It's kind of like an Olympic, right? If you ask an Olympic, their training is every year. So can you imagine their muscles are built different? They're stronger. They're made for competition. But when you have somebody that's biological and saying he is a female, at the end of the day, as a parent, as a father, my personal opinion is, as much as I want to agree with what that person, assessment of who he thinks he is, the fact of the matter is that he is what he is, which is a male. And at the end of the day, you're going to see this. This is so important and crucial for those that are advocating for this, especially parents. Think about this. I wouldn't want my daughter to face off in the ring against a boxer who thinks is a female and it's actually a male. He's going to destroy her. You know what I mean? He's going to, I'm going to be in there and say, sorry, love, I love you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be the better person, but it's time for you to forfeit. So yes. Thankfully, I am thankful for these schools that are just taking a stance to protect the integrity and the importance of female sports. So I thank, people that are working hard, like Sonia Shaw, like Riley Gaines, that are just standing up for the true sport of women's sports. I mean, if you think about nowadays to be, I don't call this the feminist movement. We should have people like that coming in and saying, enough is enough. We're the feminists on this. Where's the Me Too movement on this? Yeah. Silent. That's when we see that this is all political. This is all being propagated propagandized by certain organizations to push to create these kinds of this friction against parents, sports, and their people. Why not create a secondary, another category, a league? If there's so many of them, hey, let's create the first, what do you call it? The first transgender league. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm for that. I would love to do it. I'll support that. Because at the end, because at the end of the day, my personal opinions and my views should be like, hey, you want to do it? Just don't. You can't make it with the males. You want to make it with the females? Let's just create your own category.
Yes.
You're for you. This is what we can all agree and just stand up for their rights on that particular issue. But in the sense, I disagree with the lifestyle. I disagree with everything because of my beliefs. But at the same time, hey, I respect and let them do what they got to do. No.
Yeah, and I'll say a couple things too. Then we can move on to the last subject. We want to talk about. So, me personally, like this is not about homophobia or against a certain group of people. No, as a matter of fact, I have gay friends. They're cool. They're cool people. I have lesbian friends. They're cool people too. I hang out with them. They're cool with me. They got no problem with me. The problem is again, fairness. It's about fairness and what's right. A biological boy is made different from a biological girl. Science is not pseudoscience. It's actual fact science. And a boy that's last place in a category sports against other boys go to girls, all of a sudden they might be in the top 10 or top 1, And according to the facts and numbers that were presented, the boy that created this national issue in Hoopa Valley High School, he was actually one of the lower tier athletes among boys in their sport. He made the jump to girls sports and all of a sudden state champion, CS state champion. Can you believe that, Alfred?
Yep, that's what I mean. When you have, when you have at the end of the day, when we look at biology, we cannot hide biology. At the end, it speaks for itself. When we look at when we're doing the excavations, right? And we're looking at the Neanderthals, right? These are the people, the cavemen, right? From many millions or thousands of years ago, right? At the end of the day, when we're looking at the facts, what is that caveman showing us? Their actual sex. This is a male caveman. This is a female cave women, right? A girl that they uncover, right? When we're looking at these biological things, when we're researching this, at the end, when we die, and they find us 50 years or 100 years from now, what are they going to find? That I was a male. See, yes. It doesn't change me. See, it doesn't change. What I think and say is not going to change the fact of the matter of who I am, X, Y, Y, Z. My chromosomes are still going to be the same. And that's why we need to stand on the truth and the facts.
Yes. Yes. And with that, the last story that we want to talk about, the late trend, the craziness of the Powerball lottery. You're excited about that. Please tell me that you played the Powerball this past weekend. Try to get the 1.7 billion.
I missed it, bro. I heard about it and somebody said, hey, are you going to buy it? And I'm like, bro, I just don't have. And then by the time I heard about it, it was already boop, sold, taken. Somebody in Texas, right?
Yeah. So for audience to know, the winner of the actual jackpot, which was close to 1.7 billion. Whoa. I don't have the numbers in front of me regarding like how much federal taxes, state, et cetera, et cetera. All I know is that one person got close to 1.7 billion, which is 1.7 billion more than I'm ever going to probably make in this world. But yes, someone from Texas, but that's not without worth noting that in the last week, there's actually, 4 winners in California that actually won approximate on around $1 million. Hey, I'll take 1 million. I don't need 1 billion. I don't need 1 billion. Just give me 1 million. Give me 100,000. I'll be okay with that, right, Alfred?
Correct. Yep. It's important, man. Regardless of the taxes, it's money that we don't have. and it's in very desperate need right now because of the high inflation, the gases, everything that we're paying. So I will take a meal right now. Thank you.
I got the information right here. So um, four winners. One of them was in Bakersfield. They won approximate on or around $1 million in Bakersfield. So congratulations, Bakersfield. You got a winner now. And another winner was Tehachapi, according to the data, Tehachapi area. So again, I believe that's a prison town. I hope there's now money in going investment around there, and I hope I see you guys grow right there. And there's a couple worth noting here that I believe it's undisclosed, but one area in Southern California got a $1 million lottery. It's undisclosed, so some say it was Ontario, some say it was LA. But again, congratulations, SoCal, we did it again. And lastly, I want to leave the audience with this last very fun thing. My community of Riverside was one of the winners that got $1 million in the Powerball. Again, $1 million is a lot of money, right, Alfred?
100%. Well, can you imagine the taxes for the city? Because at the end of the day, this person that's going to come, he comes into the city with $1 million, right?
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, he has $1 million to spend into our cities. So it brings our economies. So it's helpful. So congratulations to Tehachapi, Ontario, Riverside. And I think you mentioned one more, which was the Bakersfield area.
Yeah.
Correct. Congratulations. So imagine the economy, how it's going to burst into this city. The local economy. Somebody's going to buy a new house, a new car. Somebody's going to pay taxes into that car, into that paying the license plate, the fee. So that's where California comes in and says, thank you for making an investment into our local economies.
And I'll leave it with this, And lastly, supposedly, the taxes that are taken from the lottery goes to school. So I hope that stays true, right, Alfred?
Yes, but you know what? At the end of the day, man, I'll take it. I'm seeing a lot of our local schools are getting upgrades with solar panels.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping that our administrators can really take a look closely to our every school, every district finances, so we can better off our children. Let's focus less on the administration fees and more into students.
Yes, and with that, folks, this was a great podcast show. And again, I want to thank Alfred, from Orange County, Instagram handle Latino OC News, another Instagram handle. La Patria podcast. You have any other social media accounts I don't know of that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Well, but mostly I'm at La Patria Pod. So on Instagram, go ahead and find me on La Patria Pod. And for me, it was a pleasure having. Yes, La Patria, which is LAPATRIAPOD. Remember that I'm on Instagram. Go ahead and find us there. A lot of our content is primarily in Spanish, but hey, I will remove my sarape, my hat, and and bring it to our team here and speak English. I want to thank Daniel Silvas for the opportunity to be able to have this great conversation. I learned a lot from the Jurupa Valley location. I was able to learn some of the local news. We're in desperate need for this, folks. We actually need people like Daniel Silvas who's providing these insights into their own local communities. We need a lot of them. We need 100, 1,000 of them, because at the end of the day, think about it. If we have people like Daniel Silvas that are working closely with not only politicians, city council members, and he's sharing these information. He's that what do you call it, that bridge, the gap between some people that want to learn, get involved, and he's already in the know. It's great to see young people, or either that Daniel Silva's working to expose some of the things that are happening in his local community. So Daniel, thank you, brother, for everything that you do, and thank you for this great opportunity and invitation to work with you on this collaboration.
Kind words, Alfred. Kind words. And again, for my Instagram is official Daniel Silvas, and TikTok the same thing, official Daniel Silvas, and Twitter, X, whatever, Daniel Silvas USA, Daniel Silvas USA again. And I do want to say this, that a good analogy of things I do. I'm like the oil in the engine that makes it go. And I'll leave it with that. Thank you guys. Thank you for hopping on. And we appreciate you. God bless you guys.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. God bless.